The majority of the people have been fed this narrative that AI is doing it on its own. And it most of the people think like AI is magic. And I do not know why we are being invisibilized.
Why are the workers who power AI marginalized during its so-called boom? The India AI Impact Summit is leaning in hard on concepts that are important, but also often co-opted. In partnership with AI Now and the Apti Institute, we've produced a series of interviews with some incredible people who live and breathe substance analysis and meaningful action into these concepts that are probably going to be used in pretty superficial ways in the upcoming summit. In this interview, I'm talking with Joan Kinyua about AI and human capital. Joan Kinyua is a digital rights activist and the president of the Data Labelers Association, which advocates for fair treatment, better conditions, and recognition for data labelers worldwide. So let's get into it.
My name is Joan Kinyua. I'm the founding president of the Data Labelers Association. And what we do at the Data Labelers Association is represent the workers who are powering AI. These are data labelers. We do categorization, we do transcribing, we do a lot of annotation for autonomous vehicles, for like basically every technological advancement that you're seeing. There's an input a data labeler has. So we have accumulated, as the Data Labelers Association, accumulated more than like 50 years of experience across the 10 members. And we do not have any protections. We are not recognized. So at the Data Labelers Association, we represent the people who are powering artificial intelligence. So it's the data labelers, it's the content moderation, it's the people doing transcription tasks. Recently, it's the chat moderation that we've just learned of, the erotica, chat GPT. It's basically the whole landscape of the AI. So why we came into existence is because we faced a lot of challenges and we had no recourse. We had nobody to report the challenges to. You're not paid. You've worked for a full month. You're not paid. You do not have anywhere to report that to. You do not have any social protection. You have family. You have children. And most of the time, when it comes to maybe working in a BPO, it's set up in a suburb area where you have to use like 2 vehicles, and like the salary you're getting is a recycle, or you're just recycling it to just power the same system, right?
Mm-hmm. Can you do really quickly BPO? Can you break that? What does that acronym stand for?
Also, the BPO is a business processing outsourcing. It's a model that is used by the big tech to outsource jobs here in Kenya. So basically, what they do is just an office. So major decision making is done in the countries where the BPOs are held. So the business processing outsourcing is just a facility that is here in Kenya that is offering the space and the people, but the operations, the major operations, the tasks, and everything else comes from the other side. So, like, there are no mental safeguards when it comes to the workers. You find either it's the content of the work that you're doing that is really harming you, it's the nature of the work, because you're usually always working, like, it's like you're always walking on eggshells when you're working in these spaces. It's the pressure. It's the monthly salary that does not make sense, and you have a lot of things that the salary is supposed to sustain. So we came up because of these systemic challenges. And after several conversations and after like just being in the space for the 1 year that we have been in existence, we have come to realize it's sort of intentional to be like that, not to be enforced, not to be paid well, not like it's the system that is also allowing this to happen, right? So we took it upon ourselves to fill the gap of the knowledge gap that is there of who the data labelers are, because there's this blanket definition of platform workers, and it usually speaks about the delivery, the Ubers, but it sort of it did not include us. It did not include data workers. While we are the most I think the most important part of the platform jobs or platform work or digital
Mm-hmm.
jobs. Yeah.
When we think about the phrase of human capital and how people come up and labor comes up in these contexts where you have nation states talking about the importance of AI, you have people talking in very abstract terms about how AI is going to transform the workforce. Do you want to talk a little bit about sort of what and maybe who is overlooked when this framing of human capital is used in these ways by these kinds of people when they have big conversations about AI?
Yeah, it's I usually like this question because ever since we started having the conversation about the role of data labelers is when people started to actually know like we're in existence. So it is our voices that made us to be known. And this is for the minority of the people who have had the chance to listen to us or even have interacted with most of the content that we've been putting out in the media or online in the social media pages. But a majority of the people have been fed this narrative that AI is doing it on its own. And it most of the people think like AI is magic, and I do not know why we are being invisibilized. For example, when I started this job, you are told like you are going to be recognized, you're part of something big, and like your hopes are very up. And you submit quality after quality. I can tell you for free the quality that you were supposed to give was 98% and above. So when you promise that you're going to be recognized for the self-driving cars in the next maybe 10 years, you're so pumped about everything and you just want to submit quality jobs. So that was among the things that were really help making us to give quality jobs. But fast forward to 10 years, in fact, the situation got worse. In an instance where we were having conversation with these people, now you do not have anybody you're speaking to because they've already gotten what they want from you. So we are completely not known, completely unrecognized, and completely like sidelined out of even the conversations. I might let me choose to digress for a few seconds. For example, there are all these laws that are coming up about AI and all these things, but are the workers sitting on the table to speak about how they have influenced the coming up of artificial intelligence? No, people are just busy relying on Google search and other sorts of information and researchers, but nobody's really speaking straight from the worker's perspective. And that's why I feel like there's this big loophole when it comes to especially reinforcement and also coming up with the policies, right? And I'm so sorry for digressing, but I'm very passionate when it comes to um, why why are we not being recognized? Why are we not being shown? Why are we just sidelined from this the whole AI conversation?
I want to go deeper on this point about invisibilization and the people that are involved in this work and ask you a little bit about why you think this data work is concentrated in global majority countries, and how you think these structures have been set up this way. Um, and yeah, let's start there. Do you want to talk a little bit about the kind of global economic implications and how we got to this point where basically you have this kind of labor happening in global majority countries to support value creation in global north countries?
First of all, let me give you an example of Kenya, where we have a majority of the people are the young people, like 35 years and below. And almost everybody has is very well educated. We all have university degrees. We all can speak in English very well. And there's a good penetration of the internet when it comes to like the internet connectivity. Um, and we are all very tech savvy people. So that's a very ripe market for big tech, right? Also, there's no jobs. Most of us, like you find like somebody is a certified actuarist, but there's no jobs when it comes to like the work that they are trained. So what is next is the work that is available. So you find that it's cheap labor, cheap quality labor that is leading people to the side. And ready market, like we are very ready. You just give us a platform, promise us you're going to give us, like you're going to pay, and then we are ready to submit tasks. So I think that's just the main thing, that the reason as to why they are concentrated on areas where there's so many young people and very unemployment rates are very high. It's it's a very good it's a very good space for them to use the people that are there.
So it's a pool of people that are willing and able to do this work. Do you want to talk a little bit about the dynamic of sort of distancing these big tech practices from jurisdictions where those companies are? Because I imagine there's a bit also of trying to kind of separate the corporations from the labor practices. So do you want to talk a little bit about that sort of distancing and attempt to not be held accountable?
Yeah, first distancing is on the get-go, like it's something that you're told by the business processing outsourcing in case you're working for one. You are categorically told do not interact with the clients. So it's put out there. So it's when you're given a project, you do not know who you're working for. It's either a combination of alphabets. It's like ABC or DEF or the name of an animal, for example, swan tasks or turtle, or like these all these things that are trying to like distance. They really distance themselves using any sort of mean. You will never know who your client is, and unless you're working on their platform, where in the platform, for example, is it's Meta, it's you are going to see the logos and stuff. And I feel like they're doing it's very deliberate because the laws and the policies do not tie them. And I remember even the Meta case that is still ongoing, they say they cannot be sued in Kenya because it's not registered under the Kenyan laws, right? So I feel like because of the lack of an international, maybe, or there is international law, but the reinforcement when it comes to countries where basically like I'm based, it's very shallow. Like there's no accountability. There's nobody to sort of like make sure the laws are enforced and they are followed. And I feel that is why they're taking advantage of the situation and at the same time creating loopholes that really favor them. Um, yeah, I feel like laws are there, but they usually protect the global north. And most of the laws, like the international laws, but when it comes to reinforcement, we can speak about the Due Diligence Act, for example, where it states that in France, they're supposed to in an organization like that's in France, they're supposed to make sure everybody is being treated like the same people who are living in France, but that is not happening. When you look at an organization like Teleperformance, that is not happening. You see, I'm just trying to prove that the laws are in existence, but when it comes to reinforcement, especially to less privileged countries, they are not taken into consideration.
I want to take a step back, thinking a little bit about how AI conversations around labor are framed in things like summits, when lots of nation states get together, lots of heads of state want to talk about AI transforming workforces, et cetera. And they talk a lot about upskilling or workforce transformation, which obviously touches on some aspects of data labeling and some aspects of organizing that you're a part of. How do you feel about that framing when it comes to AI? How do you see that connecting or not connecting to the work that the people that are represented in the association are doing?
First of all, when you're speaking about reskilling, upskilling, most definitely they're not speaking about data labeling. They're speaking about the engineers and all those big titles. Personally, I've been in the space for more than 5 years, but I found it very hard to transition to any other field because of the skills that I had learned in this space were just drawing boxes, like shapes around things and recognizing different things and stuff like that. It's very hard for me to have a conversation with another person, to sort of like tell them I was working in this field. They are going to ask me for what purpose. So I feel like they are concentrating on like the major fields. And I know why they do this is because this has always been termed as an emerging or the future of work or something. But how is it the future while it has been in existence for the last 10 years? So I feel like it's like it is being treated like an entry level job or a transition job. It's not being treated as a job. We have been working in this space for the longest time, and people are continuing to work in this space. And even when you read the ads, it's are you a stay-at-home mom and you're in need of something that will keep you going. Like, it's not termed as something very serious, but it's something very serious. Even when it comes to contracts, you find that somebody's giving you a monthly contract, a renewable monthly contract, but you're going to renew that contract for 5 years. So it's the whole system that is really, really messed up.
Yeah. I like this also this reflection on entry level to where. There's not a ladder of progression within these roles, which means that the people that are providing the labor that's necessary for these systems to work aren't necessarily benefiting in any meaningful way or being considered in any meaningful way as people that deserve dignity and access to labor. I want to talk a little bit about what that could look like if it was different. So when you think about these jobs, when you think about the opportunities of participating in AI systems, let's say, do you think it's possible to have data labeling as a profession in a way that actually meaningfully supports the individuals that are employed in that trade? Can you imagine a scenario where those resources might be directed in part to the communities that are making it possible?
Yeah. So, a colleague of mine at the association called Fantas works for an organization called Tech for Animals. And it is through Tech for Animals that made him realize that we were being treated like trash. He is part of the decision making. He is part of, like, he is told like the process of everything. They're working with animals, and they're like, there's different things the animals does and the animal does, and it indicates something. So he is taught what this AI is for. And when we look at organization like the one he's working for, and you feel like you see this person is really taking initiative and wants him to be part of the conversation, you feel like this is something that can be done. But I feel like they do not really care about the people that they're bringing on board. It's they want their work to be done, and that's it. They're not passionate about whatever it is the workers is going through, or even like the input. They just work to be done. They just want what the work to be done, and that's it. When you look at these two organizations, and that's why nowadays we do not just talk about the challenges, we are also highlighting on some of the good practices so that people can see it can be done. Because some people are doing it. Why can you not do it? Why don't you just be open and speak to the workers about, like, this is what you want, this is what we expect, and then now we'll feel like we are part of the system, we are part of the formulation of whatever it is that somebody is coming up with. It feels very bad for one to work on scans, mammograms, and all those things, to see in the newsletters that the doctors have come up with something futuristic that can detect brain cancer and breast cancers and all those things 5 years before you get it. And you never got the recognition for that. It feels very bad and very discouraging.
And you probably can't access the technology. So if you
You
needed
can't.
a
Even, for example, for the autonomous vehicles, it's not African roads. It's not Brazilian roads. It's not roads in India. This AI that we are coming up with is specifically centered around some place. Some place I know, maybe I will go for conferences and stuff, but it was not for my own will to go there. Or I could not even get there.
um when you think about these examples of where organizations that are incorporating data labeling and the people involved in that more meaningfully into recognition, but also into, it sounds like, the overall process of making something and like including them in the bigger picture and not even telling them what institution or process they're supporting. What do you think it would take to redirect some of these bad practices into some of those better practices? If you could be queen for a day, what kinds of things do you think you would try and instigate to make that happen?
First of all, I'll just kill this invisibility. They do not know me, I do not know them. That I will just remove that. I want to know who I'm working for. I want to have a conversation with them. I want to know, like, what technology am I coming up with? Is it something that's supposed to harm people? Is it something that's supposed to help people? You see, at times this project that you're given that really make you wonder when you're asked to, how do you molest a 2-year-old? So I will just do that, but How does that help society? Maybe it's something good that I'm doing. Maybe it's an act that's supposed to filter to filter or to ban people from accessing this internet to do bad things. But if that is not communicated to me, I'm just going to think that is something bad that I'm doing, and I will just do it for the money or for the benefits that I'm going to get there, right? So I feel like the invisibility and the making just like the conversation, just to make sure like we are open. Let me know I'm working for you, and you are. Let's just sit around the table. Let's discuss things. I might have better better um, feedback when it comes to whatever it is you're doing. And let me take you back to when we started with the remote task platform. So when we started the remote task platform, we started with 3D projects. So for 3D projects, it was very nice because it's like the very first group that started, and we're like less than 100 people. And it was a very good working environment because it was an exchange. Do this for us to give you better quality, add photos. For us to give you better quality, add this. Make the system less heavier for us not to be replacing our machines on a daily basis, because again, in this sector you have to have very high functioning machines. So it was a very good exchange. But as things progressed, as people became so many in the system, everything was neglected. I really liked the very initial stages when it was a very chill environment. We'd talk. Once you'd complain about how much work you've put in and they've paid you less, then it's going to be like this. They're going to think about it, and they're going to add something like it was a very good environment. But once that disappeared, it disappeared. It's the data labelers, it's the content moderators, it's the Uber drivers, it's the deliveries, it's all those people. And it's because we have some common challenges, especially working for the platform. So we merged together. Apart from that, we are also part of like another global gig workers alliance, and that's a bit more big because there's also other countries. There's the Philippines, there's the US, there's a lot of people. So I think even it's a bad thing that is happening, but it's also a good thing because we are forming solidarity, international solidarity that is really strengthening us. Like for us to even start the association, it was because of a German workers council from the SN that came to Kenya, and we saw about most of the things they had accomplished for their workers, and we were like, so we also can do this. That really encouraged us. So I feel like it is there and it is growing. The momentum of international solidarity is growing as time goes by. Once we realize like they're not listening, we form bigger bodies, and the bigger the solidarity, the more the impact you're seeing. You're seeing people want to be part of the conversation. You're seeing things needed to be done. Like for example, the Brown report. We have some input around the Brown report as a group. Yeah, so I feel like the more the international solidarity, the better the things are getting and the more knowledgeable. Because even for me, I did not know most of the things that I've learned, but through the coming together with different people from different sectors of the country of the continent has also helped me in learning a lot. And
That's amazing. Are there any moments of organizing or advocacy or resistance that you feel like you got excited about or felt particularly effective?
naming and shaming. that has worked. When you name and shame, it really worked. Do not we like something I've learned 2025 is do not sugarcoat. If it's meta you're speaking about, name them. If it's ChatGPT, name them. They really do not want bad publicity for their products. So I think the naming and shaming is the most important part of this that I have learned. But just calling them as big tech, nobody cares. They're busy getting their bags.
Yeah,
But let's name them and hold them accountable.
get
Yeah.
specific. I like it.
Yeah.
If you're going to spill tea, you got to be specific. Okay. Well, I have one more question about this upcoming summit. What is your most ungenerous interpretation of why human capital gets framed in this way in those types of fora? Why do you think there aren't countries that, when it comes to these summits, they don't show up trying to represent the interests of data labelers? When you're being mean about it, why do you think they treat this topic in this way?
In Kenya, usually when you're speaking about good things, you refer to them as cake. So for me, I am the cake. For the president, he is the owner of the cake. So instead of selling this cake, he's giving it away. Like, for example, here, there's this bill that was passed the other day about it's called the Business Amendment Law 2024. And there's this part that was touched when they say that the big tech cannot be sued in Kenya. We can only sue the BPO. So how can you sue like a building? Because the major decision making and everything else, even like the tasks are not here, they're on the other side. So when you see that, you really feel very discouraged. In fact, like I felt like I wanted to stop this activism job because you are supposed to be our biggest supporter. You are supposed to be, because in Kenya, I can say for now, in Kenya, I think AI is the biggest employer to the young guys, to the organizations we know, and to those that we don't know. These jobs are the biggest employers. So instead of banking on the young guys and selling them at the highest rate, he's just shortchanging them for his own benefit, to be in the good books of Mark Zuckerberg and in the good books of Elon Musk. It's just that they want to be identified with the big people. They want to be part of the conversation because again, the big tech is they're in bed with the politicians. So there's nothing you can expect from the president. There's nothing you can expect from anybody in government when it comes to banking on us as workers. And that's why we took it upon ourselves to even speak about the work we are doing. And that is why we are coming up with things for our own, because when we wait on other people, nobody is going to do it. They really care about being in their good books with they just care about, I don't know if it's the money they are being given or it's the reputation or they just want to be seen. At times it's even not beneficial in any way, just want to have a conversation with them.
They
You
want to
might
be
find
bringing
that,
the cake to the party.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
It's just part of the conversation. By the way, I have 5 million young workers. What do you have for them? It's maybe at times they're not getting anything out of this. It's just to have a conversation or even just to speak in front of this. I really feel very discouraged because these people are like 18 hours of a day working with no social life, with nothing to show for it. You don't have even medical cover for your kids. You're living in struggle. There was a day I was doing a research, an AI hands research I think 2 years back. And somebody was mentioning how the job was dictating where he's going to live. So today he has a job, he moves because he does not want to raise his kids in this specific area that he is in. And then when the job again is not there, he moves back again to the ghetto because that's where he can afford. So you can imagine these people, and then you also imagine the presidents and the people, decision makers, they have the power to have a conversation and speak for the workers, but they're not. So that's very sad. I usually feel very sad. Like personally, I do not have faith in politicians. I know we need them, especially in this advocacy field, and when we are speaking about the things that we are speaking, and even the knowledge sharing and all these things. I know we need them, but I usually do not have faith in them. I know nothing is going to be done.
Thanks again to Joan for joining me for this conversation, which, as a reminder, is part of a series we're doing in partnership with AI Now and the Opti Institute called Reframing Impact AI Summit 2026. We've got interviews with some incredible guests, and you can find the full series on our channel. So do check that out, and thanks for joining.